Right then, Vinny. So the right hand one is now your after. Not a massive change as we said, but just getting that shoulder kind of tilted a little bit more in this way, okay, as opposed to that kind of position there. I mean, there's a little bit of tilt there. We're getting a little bit more on that right hand side, okay? Not a lot. It feels to you probably a lot more than what it actually is visually, okay? But it's getting yourself in a position where we stop this hip going that way. We want this hip to go around this way. So your head's going to stay this way as you turn, and you're going to keep your spine kind of in that tilted position. Now, if you watch as you go back on this one, the hip sort of slides, not really much turn there, but you sort of hips it a little bit. This one, an attempt to try to turn more. Okay, try to rotate. Your hip starts turning around here now, but as you get to about here, you start sliding and popping up, and you actually get a bigger turn. So how much more tilt you have there. So now you're a lot more this way, okay, just because you've turned it more. But it's keeping that, ideally speaking, that spine should be back there. Like I say, if I'm turning and throw a ball, I'm back here. I'm not going to throw it in that, because from that steeper angle, if you were to start too level as you're on that left-hand one and turn to there and didn't follow through, you'd probably slam the club so hard into the ground, it would hurt, to be fair. But at least from there, as you come back, there's a bit of hip movement towards target there now. We go right the way through, that right knee kind of softens, and we finish with a pretty decent follow-through position compared to this one here now when you come back through, okay? From there, your lower half now not really working so much, right leg's barely coming through. There's a bit more daylight between there. Look at the length of that follow through. That's kind of your full swing there, because you just can't get round. This is sort of almost locked and straightened, but that was happening more so because of the way the hip was turning, or sliding, should I say. Yeah. We want to get the sensation. This hip, as I say, I think the point on your right hip there now, it's got to go from here and got to get basically where your middle of your backside is there, in that spot. You've kind of got to go in up here. When you do that, your leg then locks and straightens. Now you're trying to turn into the golf ball this way. This leg is already locked. It's nowhere to go. So we get it kind of turning this way. So get that hip turning out of the way. And that's just going to be practice. Like I say, if you can do some work up against the wall there, as we said. So if you put a wall down here or some furniture or something in the way, arms across your shoulders, and just practice creating almost space. Creating space now between that right hip and the wall. You can see if we sort of put a little in there, okay, stay there, how much your right hip now kind of moves. It starts to rotate initially, and then from here now, there's that sort of, that there, so your right hip's almost going up there, with your jumper sort of does the same kind of things. As you're tilting down to your left, the hip's going up. Well, now your hip's going to get very, very locked, so it's going to make it very hard for you to twist through. You do in this case, because there's no real kind of fear or consequence or stress. On a golf course, if you get in that sort of locked hip position, it's like, how do I get through the golf ball now? I'm kind of like, hesitant. We want to get into a position where we're just turning better. This hip now, at this point, your hip should have been rotating in that way, not almost rocking back and forth and swaying, okay? Setup will help that. If you set up with a high right side to start with, your hips can't move really. I mean, if I stand in a position like this, okay, which a lot of people do, sort of, they bend your left arm in to get your hand on the golf club, and you show now trying to, that's the way they're going to move. We want to get it here now, so I can get this out of the way. Almost exaggerate how much space you can make. Okay. If I started there a fist away from, how much can I? You'll never go that way to start with, I'm not sure, but just get that sensation of a better rotation. If we can rotate better on the way backwards, then you can rotate better through. At least your lower half is a bit more kind of engaged into movement rather than being locked and a bit stiff and a bit rigid. Cool. Okay, does that kind of make sense then? Yes. So grip-wise, I say was good. I mean, you had a question at the start there now with that grip. Very good. Left thumb is sort of parallel to the right hand. So I think about the little clock face. 12 o'clock being on top, you're kind of off to 1 o'clock parallel down the grip there. Right thumb's going to cover your left. Very, very good there in that terms of that grip position there. Swing thought now, once you've got that spine angle, is this hip, go around the corner. Put a stick there, a club or something to give you the feedback of it moving and rotating in that way, Okay. If you're down the range or on the course today, take some swings. Swings from obviously face on, but I think as well you'll start seeing that yourself. I mean, if I brought that club a sec, another one you can do to sort of see how you rotate. Put this on your hips there now, pushing quite a little bit in there into the hip bone, okay? And then see yourself. Actually, if I go that way, and we'll see the clubs, and I sort of lock inside. I want to take my right hand and push this back. And do that. So I'm pushing that way, okay? Get my hip turning out the way this way.
Lovely.
Okay, mate?
Yes.
Good stuff. I'll have a couple more in, buddy.